Most people know that eating too much junk food can cause weight gain, but what if I told you that healthy foods can do exactly the same thing? Avocados, peanut butter, smoothies, all foods that are labeled as healthy, yet all foods that can contribute to weight gain if you're not careful. So, how is that possible? One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to lose weight is assuming that healthy automatically means low calorie. But the fact is, those are two completely different things. A food can be incredibly nutritious, yet still contain a high amount of calories. You see, the problem is that once a food gets labeled as healthy, people often stop paying attention to how much they're eating. They believe that if it's good for me, it must be good for my weight. But that couldn't be further from the truth, and it's typically where things start to go wrong. At the end of the day, your body weight is primarily determined by one sole factor, and this factor is often misunderstood the majority of the time. Of course, we're talking about a calorie deficit here. To put it simply, if you consume more energy than your body uses over time, you'll gain weight. Importantly, your body doesn't suddenly ignore this rule because the food came from a healthy or nutritious source. Calories from nuts still count. Calories from olive oil still count. Calories from avocados still count, just like calories from any other food. Because while food quality and nutrition are important for health, energy balance is still the determining factor for whether you gain or lose body fat. Let's take a look at a few examples. Take peanut butter. A couple of spoonfuls can easily contain over 200 calories. Maybe a handful of nuts instead, often another 150 to 200 calories. Even olive oil, which is marketed as one of the healthiest things out there, can add significant calories to a meal very, very quickly. Just a singular tablespoon contains roughly 120 calories. Now, let's not forget that none of these foods are inherently bad. In fact, they're highly nutritious, but because they're so calorie-dense, it's far too easy for the majority of people to overconsume without even feeling like they've eaten a large amount of food. And that's where many people unknowingly push themselves into a calorie surplus. Now, this doesn't mean that healthy foods are the problem. Far from it. The foods we previously listed, such as nuts, avocados, or olive oil, can all be part of an excellent, fat loss-focused diet, but they must be integrated properly. The goal isn't to avoid them, it's to understand them. Because a food being healthy doesn't automatically mean you can eat unlimited amounts of it without consequence. Portion size still matters, and that's often what most people forget. The most successful diets aren't built around avoiding healthy foods. They're built around understanding how those foods fit into your overall calorie intake. This means prioritizing foods that provide good nutrition, high satiety, and appropriate calorie intake. When you can understand that balance, healthy foods become an incredibly powerful tool, rather than something that mistakenly stalls your weight loss progress. So, if you're doing everything right, and yet the scale isn't moving, don't just look at whether the foods in your meal plan are healthy. Look at how much you're eating calorically. Track your caloric intake and truly find out just how much energy you're actually consuming. Because healthy foods can absolutely support fat loss, but they can also contribute to weight gain if they push you into a calorie surplus. And your body doesn't care whether those extra calories came from a donut or a jar of peanut butter.